And right now, joining us from the U.S. House of Representatives, Congressman Paul Gosar from Arizona. Congressman, good evening, sir.
Hey, good evening, Cam.
Thank you so much for coming on the program. I know it's been a busy couple of days, a lot of appropriations votes and a lot of amendments kind of related to Fast and Furious that have come up.
Absolutely.
We talked last night with your colleague, Congressman Farenthold, about this amendment that sailed through the House of Representatives here. Talk about this amendment, because this would, in essence, cut funding to DOJ or allow funding to be cut to DOJ if it continues to obstruct the investigation into Fast and Furious?
Absolutely, and inherently builds penalties for those that lie to Congress in regards to that documentation of Fast and Furious.
Were you? You must have been gratified to see the vote here. I mean, it was not even close overall.
You're exactly right, but I think even the other side of the aisle recognized that what we were pivotally doing was delineating what is bad behavior and what's right and wrong.
Absolutely, and I know that the proceedings of the contempt of Congress proceedings still continue. John Boehner, I know, said today that Representative Issa in the Oversight Committee has his full support. At this point, is there anything that the Justice Department could do, short of simply complying and turning over these documents to stop the contempt of Congress proceedings?
Well, not in my eyes, Cam. I can't speak for the chairman, but as you probably already know, after the chairman issued our booklet in regards to why he outlined contempt charges, I had heard what the Justice Department said, that they were done turning stuff over to us, and my comment was let's get it on. And I have been pointing about this. I know that others in our committee have said the same thing. So, next week couldn't be soon enough.
Absolutely. Now, what deadlines do we have coming up next week? What can we look forward to seeing here?
Well, we don't know. What has happened with this administration is we've had late Friday afternoon dumps of information.
Right.
And so tomorrow is Friday, so you never know what may happen. But in my regards, from what I see, and being from Arizona, it's got to be substantial, and it's got to be stuff that we can really get our teeth into to understand the full gravity of this. And it's not just the documents, Cam. It has to be access to the witnesses as well, inline attorneys, the folks that we've asked for in previous discussions that have been thwarted by the administration and by the Attorney General himself.
Well, absolutely. As you say, it is not just the 64,000 plus documents that have not been turned over. There are dozens of people that the committee has asked to speak to, and the administration is not allowing this. And we've talked about, Kevin O'Reilly, the former National Security Council staffer who's now over in Iraq. But there are a lot of other folks who are still in D.C. that the administration is keeping you all from?
Absolutely, and one of the things that we said in our hearing is, as we outlined it, and the Attorney General himself said that he would only do what other administrations had done, and what he said is that they've never turned over inline attorneys or attorneys with jurisdictional aspect of jurisdiction over some of these proceedings, and that wasn't true. We actually brought forward numerous cases where other administrations had done that, and he even acknowledged that. And that's one of the things that is so disheartening is that this Attorney General likes to pick and choose what laws he wants to uphold, and he tries to mislead the American public in regards to his understanding of the Constitution and the rules and laws that he's supposed to uphold.
Absolutely. To that end, we've seen him testify, as he has said, he's gone before Congress 7 times. Not all of these were specifically related to Operation Fast and Furious, but I guess he's answered questions about Fast and Furious 7 separate times. And yet, yeah.
But that's another thing, and I'm glad you brought that up. Is that just because you answer 1 or 2 questions doesn't mean that that's a full interrogatory in regards to the discussion about what transpired.
Absolutely.
Most of those were budgetary or mandatory hearings coming before committees of jurisdiction.
Well, and even when he was there to answer questions about Fast and Furious, as we saw, Congressman, he wasn't very forthcoming. When he was asked, when will you know who actually authorized this program, his response was, well, we may never know.
Well, and here's the other thing, Cam, that really bothers me, and the American public should know, is the Inspector General that's overseeing this case even contaminated one of our witnesses. They were allowed to see a tape that contaminated their testimony in front of our committee. And that's just basic attorney type of oversight. And to muddle that shows you how incompetent or how much lack of proper protocol we have in the Department of Justice. And it just reeks of it. If you look at what's transpiring all the way through, you look at the arguments in front of the Supreme Court, I mean, gee, many Christmas. Look at the dictation that they did in front of immigration for Arizona's immigration law. Look at the health care law. I mean, it's over and over again. There's a pattern, and it shows us that not only is there disarray within the Department of Justice, but the Attorney General is incompetent and he needs to step down.
Talking with Congressman Paul Gosar from Arizona. I want to ask you, Congressman, while we've got you here, we also saw the House this afternoon pass an amendment that would block funding to DOJ to implement this multiple reporting of long gun requirement for FFLs in Arizona, as well as California, New Mexico, and Texas. Did you vote in favor of that amendment?
I should have, absolutely. And the reason being is that, here's a set of regulations that never came through Congress. And it should have. If there's any type of new gun laws that should be coming, they should be coming from into Congress. And in fact, what we ought to be doing is dispelling and get rid of some of these laws. But what ended up happening is through executive decision through the DOJ, 4 states, Texas and Nevada, or Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and California, have new long gun requirements because this is something that they wanted to create. And I've said it from day one, and I've been chastised by a number of people. But this was an incident that they created trying to get more gun regulations on the books without having to go through Congress, creating the incident.
The president has indicated he may actually veto this bill because of that provision. What would you say to President Obama?
You know what? Put that pen on the dotted line, and let's see what the American public thinks about that, because elections do have consequences.
Congressman, as always, sir, real pleasure getting a chance to speak with you tonight. Thank you so much for your time, and really look forward to doing this again soon.
Sam, thank you very much, and thanks for keeping this in America's hearts and in front of their eyes.